Is episode number 20. We're looking at sprinklers versus mist systems part 2. So I hope the sound quality is all right. Say I'm using slightly different technology today, but yeah, so I hope that's okay for you. So yeah, sprinklers and mist systems part 2. So again, if you haven't seen part 1, then that is on our YouTube channel, so you can have a look for that. Just search for Sprinkler Talk and Project Fire, and you'll find the links there to the previous episodes. So in part 1, we kind of looked at the science behind mist systems, how they vary. We looked at the droplet sizes. We looked at what effect that has in terms of how mist systems and sprinkler systems tackle fires in a slightly different way, with mist systems very much focusing on the ability to cool the fire very quickly. Whereas sprinkler systems, I suppose, a bit more like a fire extinguisher. It's all about getting things wet with a sprinkler system. So, today we're going to be looking at some of the claims of Watermist and sort of what the sort of marketing sort of spiel is, and what the differences are between Watermist and sprinklers. But yeah, again, disclaimer here. So I'm not a mist expert. And I am sort of team sprinkler. I work in the sprinkler industry, so yeah, I am going to be sort of biased towards sprinkler systems rather than mist systems. So I'll kind of make that clear at the start. Yeah, a lot of these are kind of my opinions based on information that I've read and I've heard, and I've spoken to others. But yeah, feel free to challenge me. If you think I've got something wrong, then yeah, send me an email, drop me a comment, and tell me why. Okay, so let's have a look. So I've written some claims here on the screen, and we're going to sort of go through these one by one. So what does Watermist sort of claim that it does? What are its sort of benefits over a traditional sprinkler system? So the first one, smaller water storage compared to traditional sprinklers. So that is linked to these smaller droplets being at a higher pressure and tackling the fire in a slightly different way. So actually, we can give that one a tick. That is absolutely true. Mist systems use less water than sprinkler systems, and therefore they're going to need to store less water in order to run for the same duration time. Just as a reminder, this is water storage on the screen here, and this is taken from BSCN 12845, which is looking at minimum water volume. So this is table, I think it's table 9. I haven't got it written down there. So that's quite a useful table to refer to if you want to know the approximate water storage that is required for different hazard classes and for different building heights. So it is not the kind of the full picture. If you're doing what's called FHC, which you talked about in the past, then those water quantities can vary, and they're going to go down slightly from these figures that are given here. What I would say is that some sort of mist manufacturers will be quoting water storage from a commercial or an industrial sprinkler system when they're actually trying to sell a residential and domestic mist system. So that isn't kind of fair. You're not really comparing apples with apples there. If you're looking at installing a residential or domestic sprinkler system, then you're going to need a lot less water storage than you would do for a commercial or industrial system. So I kind of go for that reason. So you can see on the left-hand side there, I've got a picture of an example 135 cubic meter tank, and I've also got the typical storage under 9251. That's the residential and domestic. So mist systems will use a lot less stored water than sprinkler systems. How much less? I'm sure you're kind of wanting me to answer. I'm afraid a lot of the answers I'm going to give you are going to be, it depends. So yeah, it depends on the type of mist system that you're using, the pressures, the way in which the head operates, the size of the droplets that are created, it's all going to make a difference as to how much water storage you're going to save. But yeah, it's going to be over 50%, maybe as much as kind of 90% saving. It is a big deal. It is a big saving. So all I would say to that is, that there is some more information kind of coming up. They obviously do behave in a different way. And for me, under 9251, those sorts of water storage is not so problematic anyway. So yeah, of course, it's always good to have less water storage because there's less space taking up with water storage. But for me, if you've got a high-rise residential building, if you're storing 6 cubic meters of water, that's not such a big deal. It is more of the industrial and commercial where you're in sort of a city centre that's when the water storage really kind of bites. Next one, cheaper than traditional sprinkler systems. To that one, I would say no. Again, mist systems are very different from manufacturer to manufacturer and sort of style to style. So their price is going to vary. So sure, you might find a mist system which is slightly cheaper than a equivalent sprinkler system, but say some are going to be a little bit less. Some are going to be a lot more. Some mist systems are going to be a lot more expensive than sprinklers because you're basically paying for the kind of bespoke equipment, very sort of specialist equipment, whereas sprinklers, of course, are quite uniform. If you go and get 3 different quotes for a sprinkler system, I would like to think that they would be fairly similar in terms of price. They're all going to be using the same sort of components. You're going to end up with quite a similar looking system at the end of the day, and therefore the quote is going to be in the same kind of ballpark. With mist systems, again, the prices are going to vary quite a lot depending on which manufacturer you go with and say what kind of operating pressures you're looking at. So, as I say, it is possible that the mist would be cheaper than sprinklers, but I would say that if it is, it won't be by much. And say often the mist system is actually going to be more expensive. So I would say a sort of a generalization of water mist being cheaper than sprinklers, I would say is false. Next one is about reduced water damage. Which it's kind of true. So because you're discharging less water, then water mist manufacturers will say, well, there's going to be less water damage. In the case of an accidental release of water, then yeah, I would say that is true. The less water you discharge, as long as you sort of get to it quickly, then you may end up saving some property damage. Obviously 99.999 whatever times, when you have a discharge of water, that's because you've got a fire. And so the primary thing you want to achieve is putting out the fire, or evacuating the building safely, or containing the fire within the specified limits. Water damage is very much a secondary consideration. I'd also say that for a lot of sort of products, so let's talk about a sofa, for example. If your sofa is wet with water from a sprinkler system or water from a mist system, then it is going to be damaged. I would suggest it wouldn't really matter if it was a little bit wet or a lot wet. You would still be putting that sofa on your insurance claim and seeking a replacement. So, really, does it matter? I've got a quote here from International Fire Magazine, IFE Magazine. This is from May 2020, so it's quite recent. And yeah, this is kind of speaking into this kind of area about reducing water storage and reducing water damage. It says, whilst these are laudable arguments, it can provide a misleading picture as Watermist is still ultimately using water. So yeah, again, it's not quite as rosy as the picture is sometimes painted. And so what's absolutely important is its performance in terms of fighting fire. Surely that's the most important thing, rather than the reduced of water storage and the reduction of any water discharge. Next one, suitable for a wide variety of fires. Yes, but you can see I've said yes, but. So let's look into that a bit more. So you probably know this already, but there are lots of different fire classifications. They've all been given a letter, and you can find them. Lots of places will know these. Electrical fires, interestingly, aren't actually classed as category E. That's because the electricity isn't really on fire. It's electricity that often causes the initial spark, but of course, the electrics aren't on fire. It's the plastic, it's the rubbers, it's the containers, it's the it's the stuff that's on fire. The electricity is kind of the source of it. So that's why that hasn't been sort of given a letter, if you like. So you can see that the way to fight an electrical fire is to isolate it to start with, and then actually deal with what is actually on fire. So yeah, we've got category A, B, C, D, E, F. We've got oils, metals, gases, liquids, but obviously most of the time we are dealing with category A fires. We're talking wood, paper, cloth, plastics, the kind of stuff that we're going to be finding in residential and domestic buildings, in offices, hospitals. Yeah, okay, they will have some sort of specialist kit in there, but mostly it's category A. And same with in industrial and commercial, unless you're in a specific area which is dealing with other flammable materials, chances are there's going to be at least 50% worth of category A in fires. So for me, mist systems and sprinkler systems should be best at tackling category A fires because that is generally what is required. But yeah, it is true that mist systems are suitable for a wider variety of fires. This is what you'll find if you go onto YouTube and you look for videos of Watermist putting out various fires. They show them working on liquid fires, on gas fires, on metal fires, because they say they create this mist curtain, so it cuts off the oxygen supply. So this is what we're talking about in part one of this presentation. We're looking at the different ways in which the mist systems tackle the fire as opposed to a sprinkler system. So yeah, they are kind of they're good. They're flexible. If you just kind of had one, I've seen mist fire extinguishers being sold, and actually, yeah, I think that's quite a good idea. You don't have to worry so much about what particular thing you've got on fire. That mist extinguisher is likely to be suitable for what you're tackling. But say in terms of category A fires, I would still argue that a sprinkler system is better at dealing with category A fires, particularly when you've got storage. You've got lots of cardboard that's kind of stacked up in racking. Then the best way to fight that kind of category A fire is to get it wet and get plenty of water on it, which is obviously what a sprinkler system does. So yeah, suitable for a wide variety of fires, yes, but is that actually what you want, or actually do you want a system which is going to be tackling a category A fire? More environmentally friendly is an argument that's put forward. Again, yeah, I suppose if you're discharging less water, then you're using less water, and therefore you could make that argument that it's more environmentally friendly. Again, for me, I would say, but what's the point of it? The point surely is to tackle the fire. You could put no water on it at all, be very environmentally friendly, but then the building's going to burn down. and it's going to need rebuilding. And of course, you've got all of the sort of gases that are released during the fire, so that's no good. The most important thing is actually, does it work? Does it control the fire? Does it suppress the fire? Does it put out the fire? Once we've done that, then the saving of water is pretty minimal, really. And of course, the fire and rescue service are going to turn up, and they're not worried about how much water they're using. Their priority is putting the fire out. Next one, better looking design. Again, I would say, well, it's kind of a matter of opinion, really. Certainly, mist manufacturers have focused on that area when they've been designing their nozzles. There is a wider variety of how they look. But sprinkler systems, I think, have responded to this. Sprinkler head manufacturers have kind of seen this argument, and I've sort of fought back, really. So sprinkler heads are now available in a whole variety of colours. You could submit a RAL colour, and you can get your head matched to that colour. We have got concealed designs, plate designs, using fusible link rather than the glass bulb. There's lots of things that we can do to kind of catch up to where mist systems are. But say ultimately that is a matter of opinion. I think some people would say that mist systems kind of look cooler, look more sort of futuristic in their appearance, which I think is probably fair enough. But yeah, in terms of blending in, I think sprinkler systems are now on a par with mist systems. Smaller pipe diameters. So smaller pipe diameters can be useful when you're routing pipe from A to B, when you're kind of going through walls, when you're going through areas that require fire stopping, for example. Then smaller pipe diameters are going to be useful. If you're using higher pressure, which mist systems generally are, then the pipe diameters are generally going to be smaller. But that isn't always the case. Say if you've got low pressure mist systems, then they're probably using a very similar size to the sprinklers. So not always, as I would say to that. Tested, compliant and approved. And this is a big question. So Watermist, again, manufacturers will make various claims about what they've been tested to, that they're compliant, that they're approved. I would just really encourage you to, if you're looking to specify a mist system or thinking of using one, then you really do need to dig in to what exactly has it been tested to. What was the test standard? What were the results? Sometimes you'll find that, it's been tested to that, but actually it failed, or it passed that and that, but didn't complete that. So yes, it's been tested, but what are the actual results? Is it an international code standard? Is it a kind of a code standard that you recognise that it's been tested to? What standard is it compliant to, and what evidence have they got of that? Are they basically just self-certifying their compliance, or is there sort of a third party which is looking at that? Same with the approval. What exactly is it approved to? Because again, you might find that the nozzles that they're using on the mist system are approved, but is the system approved? Is the pump approved to be working with the heads? Again, all of these kind of questions really need to be investigated thoroughly. And then good for property protection. Again, that's an interesting one as well. Let's have a look at a couple more quotes here from this article I found in IFE magazine. Common belief that they're good for property protection and therefore equivalent to sprinklers. This is not the case. Again, so all the mist systems that certainly I've seen are for life safety. Yes, we can get sprinkler systems that are for property protection and life safety, but mist systems, again, correct me if I'm wrong, seem to be purely for purposes of life safety. What that means is that they are going to be good at kind of holding the fire back. They're going to be good at providing adequate time for evacuation to take place. But if you want that system to actually protect the property, to say suppress the fire, to save your stock, then mist systems just aren't designed to do that. In my opinion, they're not kind of powerful enough in terms of the penetration of the water into the items that are on fire. Again, I'm talking sort of large category A fires here. So I'll just I won't sort of go through this slide in detail. You can sort of press pause and if you're watching it back. But here are some questions I would suggest you ask. So if you're looking to install a mist system, if you're looking to specify a mist system, if you're interested in one for a future project, then these are some of the questions that I will be asking the mist manufacturer. So yeah, first of all, you would have to approach a manufacturer. So again, how to decide which to approach is, again, I suppose quite difficult. Again, in the sprinkler world, you could contact 3 sprinkler contractors and you would get a very similar design, all compliant designs. Say maybe they're using different manufacturers of alarm valve, different manufacturers of groove coupling, for example, but you would get the same sort of system. Mist manufacturers, again, going to vary greatly. And they're going to tell you, that this is fine, it'll be perfect for that application. Yes, it's all approved and signed off, no problem. Well, these are the questions to kind of come back with and really check it out. I'm not saying that all mist companies are dodgy and all mist companies are kind of mis-selling, but in order to be sure, then you need to ask them some kind of thorough questions to just see what answers they've got. Do they have all the paperwork in order? What has it been approved to? And is it really suitable, tested for the application that you want to use it for? A few other bits of reading for you. So yeah, I've meant that there's a link to that to an article here that's written by Stuart Kidd, who you may know. He's kind of a big figure in sprinklers and insurance. He's had a lot of experience over the years. So he wrote an article back last year, October last year. And there's a link there to that article. Again, it is on similar lines to what I've been talking about. Also, I've mentioned the BAFSA BIFs, the information files, BAFSA information files. So number 9 is on Watermist. It's a little bit old now, so that was October 2016. But again, that's worth a read if you're interested in that. And so also you can track down that article from the magazine. When I looked I looked kind of last month, it wasn't available, but that should be available now. So yeah, thanks again for listening. I hope you found that interesting to kind of increase your knowledge and awareness of mist systems. And yeah, just listening to a little bit of my opinions, but also say backing it up with quotes from others that have also got sort of similar opinions to me. Which is really just need to be very careful with mist systems, know exactly what you're buying and what it's designed for, what it's been tested, approved to, and is it really suitable for the application that you want to use it for. Okay, so next week we're going to be looking at frictional losses. So this is kind of a big topic for sprinkler design. All components and pipe, etc., are going to experience frictional loss as the water travels through it. So in order to make sure that we've got enough pressure at our sprinkler heads, we need to calculate frictional losses in pipes and components. So I'll tell you a little bit about how we do that using a couple of different methods. Okay, so again, if I'll just hang on the line for a few minutes and just see if there's any questions in the chat. But yeah, other than that, thanks again for tuning in. Hope you have a good day, and I will see you next week.